All right, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started. I just wanted to thank everyone for coming and joining us tonight. My name is Courtney Arroyo, and I'm the Community Engagement Manager for the Department of Emergency Management and Security. And in just a minute, I'm going to turn it over to Marco to do our presentation. But I did want to thank all you guys for coming and participating. And I also just wanted to let you know, I'm going to put in the chat a quick link to our county's COVID survey. If you haven't taken it as a resident, as a citizen of the county, we definitely encourage you to take it. It's part of our after action review in conjunction with the Board of Supervisors. So we're really looking to get feedback from everyone. And it's not just about COVID and the health department's response. It's more of an overall response to COVID. So different services that have changed and all that. So we would definitely appreciate it. If you haven't taken, it takes maybe 10 minutes. If you haven't taken it, we would definitely appreciate you taking it. And I will go ahead and kick it over to Marco.
Howdy, howdy. Marco Johnson from Emergency Management Training and Presentations and anything else they need. I'm a certified disaster cycle services trainer for the Red Cross for over 10 years in sheltering and feeding and mass care. And my favorite thing is being a regional lead on reunification and getting people together in mass care. I've spent 16 hours. Some people say 16 years. So I'm telling you, I spent 16 hours on the 4th of July on the mall, working for the Red Cross in GO teams and situation assessment and reunification. And I got to be right there. And yeah, you got to see fireworks, but the phones nowadays, they're not really phones. They track you and do things. It said I went 11 miles. So 16-hour tour of duty on the mall, trying to help people be safe, directions. And this, guess what was one of the things I had to look for? It was extreme heat things. And not just handing out Band-Aids or bee stings or mosquito bites, a lot of directions. Where's the fireworks going to be? Well, see that tall monument thing there? Just stand where you are and you'll see them. So I've really worked in that heat on Tuesday, and it refreshed my body and my sense of being prepared in my backpack and what was in my cargo pants pockets. And what do they say about hydrate, hydrate, hydrate? And I was very fortunate that my lead text everybody the night before and said, urgent, urgent, hydrate tonight before the event. So as part of being preparedness and extreme heat and weather, what extreme heat really means, sometimes we say, well, that's how it is in Washington. It's always humid, right? We say, oh, so let's move ahead and think about the realities of working and doing things to be prepared. So our job is, so it's not an emergency, right? We're trying to get things so they're not an emergency. We're welcoming you. And since you're someplace, you probably already know where your fire escape is and where your doorways are and where your restrooms are. So I leave that to you to know what to do in the case of emergency. But any questions, we're open with the chat, and please look and come off mic when you need to. This is informal. This is just for you. I want you to think today at least one thing that you may be able to use, one thing that you can work with and take home. This is a reality. 4th of July, think about 16-hour tour of duty, walking around on your feet, and then making sure you had to stop and drink water and take a break in the shade when it was your turn. So we have 3 training modules, and we're going to work on these carefully so it means something to you. Before, during, and after, right? Prepare, respond, recover. For us, sometimes when we do these presentations, we get carried away. We're doing this for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And we have these words that we're familiar with. So always ask questions if you, I will try to make sure that before something happens, you can do things, you can prepare, right? While you're in the middle of something, during an event, heat, whatever that situation may be, you have to learn, what can I do during? So how can I respond? And then all of a sudden, it's over. And then I need to recover. And when we talk about emergencies, it's easy to think that emergency is only someplace else. This region is a large region. We get all kinds of alerts. We get all kinds of different weather. And we're here on the radio, even on my TV, sometimes a signal will come across the bottom and say a big storm is headed your way, stay inside. Well, guess what? Sometimes we get sort of, well, it didn't happen to my house or on my street. Today, we're here to remind you to be prepared before, during, and after, so you can prepare, you can respond, and you can recover, right? The word that I really like to learn about is called resilient. Are you resilient as a person? What does resilient means? Well, once we've tried to do all we can, or like some people's preparedness is, well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to prepare. Wow, I just heard some things. Here's from Fairfax Emergency Management. Here's a checklist. Here is a whole binder of things. Here's a beautiful, look at what they say I can do to prepare. I'm going to do that someday, right? So I want you to say, well, if I happen to be during and I'm responding to an emergency, an event, I didn't get to prepare all the ways I'm going to prepare, but guess what? What a good time to learn about and tell yourself for the next time. That's helping us be resilient. That's helping us mitigate what the emergency really is about. So it can be a little emergency, right? We got the alert, a hurricane is coming, all right? We're going to think about the future. We're going to learn about being aware, alert, and further training. Keep training yourself. Oh, I had that 5 years ago. I don't need that again. Yes, you do. We need to keep cycling through our awareness to be resilient as an individual. And then if you get to do that, and maybe somebody else around where you live is learning to be resilient, then all of a sudden a resilient individual has a resilient community around them. So I'm so excited about telling you the Fairfax Emergency Management has their community emergency response guide, where individuals, businesses, organizations, neighborhoods can really learn how about this. We will come and talk to you and help you learn about what's in this guide that is published. It's on the web. There's hard copies. You can print it, and you can have us come talk to you about it. We'll work with you. So Community Emergency Response Guide from Fairfax Emergency Management is an excellent, excellent way to go to start learning and be ready to be prepared. We want to be prepared, and we want to understand what these things mean. There's different kinds that we'll talk about, but we have 3 parts, and it's about the extreme heat. I want to make an announcement here on the extreme heat part, because we're going to tell you some things that are not always easy to listen about. And you'll say, I hope that never happens here, or that never happens to me. Please don't tell me these, what could really happen in extreme heat. Well, today, at least for a little bit, prepare yourself. we're going to hear about what could happen in extreme heat. Our second part, then we'd like to throw in the hurricanes because it's hurricane season. So we'll talk a little bit about hurricanes. Then we have a part that says stay informed. We want to be informed before, during, and after. It's a very interesting concept, isn't it? Let's be informed before, during, and after. Extreme heat. Extreme heat, let me tell you that there are some things that are not happy in extreme heat. For yourself, if you didn't already hydrate, that's another big word I know. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Drink a lot of water, drink a lot of liquids. What did I do on the 4th of July with a 16-hour shift, walking, I don't know how many steps, but they said it was over 11 miles in a day. So I drank water and I discovered Gatorade. So find out what you can drink. Find out what is good for you. And guess what? Learn how to carry a bottle. Learn how to, I have one that goes over my neck. I have one that goes into my pockets on my backpack. So for yourself and your family, extreme heat means water, water. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. What are some things that we need to learn about? And we're going to have a little vocabulary, just like we did in school. Every Wednesday was vocabulary day. So here's some terms to be safe for the extreme heat. There's something called the heat index. And we want to help within ourselves. When am I having heat cramps? When is someone else having heat cramps? Heat exhaustion. What does that really mean? What does that mean? And guess what? When you get exhaustion from the heat, it is not happy when you're out on the mall with a couple 100,000 others of your friends, like I was, okay? Heat stroke. We want to be able to identify these. We want to understand what this is to ourselves, and then we could think about how to help others. So heat index. Did you ever hear somebody sitting in a rocking chair waving a fan? Well, I'm not going to work in the yard today. It feels like 110, right? It's how it feels. There's a heat index. Well, it said it's only 99. Well, did you ever hear somebody said it feels like 100? Okay, so what we're thinking about is, hey, what's this humidity? Washington, D.C. is built on a swamp, and we have humidity around here. Fairfax has some lot of pockets of humidity. We get some sun, right? Even if there's clouds, we can have sun coming through. And then they calculate, and you can have a lot of fun to be a weather scientist and come up with things called absolute air temperature. But if you already think it feels hot, it's hot. It doesn't have to say 99, it could say 89, and it still can feel like it's 100. Or at 89, it can feel like 95. So alert, alert, alert. Find out, be informed. What does heat index mean where you live and where you come? When you hear them talk about a radio, you get a text or alert, heat index, heat index. It means something to us because it affects the body. It affects how we feel. Heat cramp. Have you ever had a heat cramp? I don't know, but maybe sometime on the 4th of July, I wondered why my legs wouldn't move after about 10 hours, and I had a few hours to go on the shift. So muscle pains, spasms due to the heat. You'll find that out when you're having so much fun at the barbecue. And if it's an all-day thing and you're on the mall with 250,000 of your best friends, or 1 million, how many were out there? I'm still waiting for the number. It filled up. It filled up for the parade, and it then filled up for the fireworks. So I need to find out how many were on the mall all day. But feeling yourself, if you didn't drink your water and it's getting too late, you have to hydrate way before. Hydrate, 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 and that's how you will know if you did drink enough. Right away, find out what to drink. It's very popular to have something besides water, but I'm saying water, water, water is what you ought to do. All right. If then I had the Gatorade was available to me, water, Gatorade, water, Gatorade. Okay. And on a schedule. If your mind won't tell you it's too late. You're having fun throwing the frisbee. Okay. What about heat exhaustion? Have you ever felt heat exhaustion? Raise your hand. Have you ever had that and said, "Oh my goodness, yeah, I see Jim's doing me raising his hand, thumbs up," and you feel kind of, "Oh my goodness, what happened to me? I'm not doing anything. I'm walking real slow. Hey, I put my hat on. All right, I put the hat on like you told me to." And it could be hot. All these factors. You're just having fun. You're occasionally throwing the frisbee. I'm mowing the lawn. I have to do this before the 4th of July. So Sunday, I'm out doing the yard work. It was hot anyway. All right. We didn't have as much humidity for us, right? All of until lately. So we had some beautiful days. How can it be beautiful in Virginia and DC? It's when there's no humidity. You don't have to worry about how the temperature goes. So you can get sweat is a sign we had to watch out for on the 4th of July for our teams, our situation assessment, our go teams walking around the mall. We had zones that we had to cover. We had to watch ourselves and our partner. There's always 2 or 3 with us on a team. And we had to look out at the crowd of hundreds of people for heat, right? For heat exhaustion, for heat stroke. That was our job on my assignment as the Red Cross, and all the training from Fairfax Emergency Management and from Fairfax Community Emergency Response Team. With my Red Cross training, I was ready and prepared to watch out for myself and for hundreds of thousands of people. That was my duty, to look for heat exhaustion that day, to see what was happening. They're having fun. They've never been out. They've been in their houses for 2 years, COVID, so now people are out. It was packed. It was amazing. But we have to learn how do you feel? What does it mean? So study these terms, study these conditions for heat exhaustion, and it doesn't have to be much. And if you start sweating and then say, am I sweating too much? All right. And get cool. When we came back, I had the radio leadership called in, come on in, get your water, get your Gatorade. And guess what? They had ready for us cold rags that were in and with the ice in it, crushed ice. Boy, was that nice after being out for a couple hours out on the mall, right? Heat stroke. How do you know yourself when you've had a stroke? You know how that is when you have somebody next to you, your buddy or your family, and they say, you don't look so good. You're all red in the face and you're sweating. What's going on? Oh, I'm fine. Yes, I'm fine. Well, they're not. You could be having the heat exhaustion, the heat stroke. So you need to understand it and be honest with yourself, and you need to see it in others that are nearby. And why do you need to do this? Somebody want to help me? The answer of why you want to understand these things is it's a life-threatening condition, isn't it? You please learn about yourself and be honest with yourself. Oh, I'm fine. Yes, I'm fine. If somebody says, here, it's time. We've been out in the yard and in the sun and throwing the frisbee or kicking the ball for an hour. So I know you haven't had anything to drink for an hour. So, oh, I'm fine right now. No, you're not. Have water. So it's hard to tell your buddy on your team or someone in your family, let's have a little bit of water. It's water, water, water. It's what you oughta. All right. Temperature control, things get all out of whack. We've got to work and keep things going and figure out, hey, what to do. And sometimes it's good to learn when it's a 911 condition. It helps to know. That's why I'm saying, admit to yourself, hey, I'm feeling this bad. In my head, it says it's an emergency. That tells my partner or someone to say 911, please. All right. it's going to be hard because you're not thinking right. Okay. So let's learn about these terms, review them for yourself, and find out as much as you can. What's the best time for service repairman? When do you think it's a good time for a service repairman? It's when nobody's done any maintenance all winter. When he kept sending the flyers at your door saying, you know, we'll have $25 off if you let me check your air conditioner. Oh, well, we're fine. We don't need it. It's winter, right? So my buddies tell me he gets in charge of extra $100 because people say their air conditioner's out. So for that bullet, I'll leave the rest of the advice to you. Okay. So what about the second bullet? What should we be drinking? Knock ein Bier, bitte? Yeah. Prost. No, I think it should be water, 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 and Gatorade. And you find out a favorite drink that is good, that is healthy, and especially for extreme heat, and especially for the weather, right? Dress for the weather. And we're trying to teach people to wear a hat. I know some people, they're looking good without a hat, you know, but find out what you could wear to protect yourself. There's clothing now that is light, so you can have long sleeves and still feel, you know, I have some shirts now have a vent across the back of the shirt. I like those, that air can come in and out. So let's learn about these things. We're learning about fluids to save our life, but the dressing, let's learn how to dress for the weather. It's hard to reschedule things. We wait till there's a hurricane or a flood coming before we cancel the picnic or reschedule it, but consider the weather, learn about alerts, right? How hot can it get? Look at this chart. Look at this. Just think about this. Does anybody know in Virginia? All right, and be prepared for this question now. How many babies, children have died in Virginia by being left in the car for extreme heat? First, number one, do you think any children have died? I don't want to hear the answer. Across so many states, I think there was counting 13 states had children die in the last few years. And I think already this year, in some parts of the country, it's been hot. In Virginia, there's been 2 at least recorded. I'm checking my reports to find out if any were in Fairfax, but when I read something, I get an alert, children have died in a car when the heat. And look at our dear colleague there. You see there in the chart, it's not the picture of me or a child. It's the picture of the person that's going to inherit all the money, of the dear grandma, right? That's the pet. I didn't get it. My grandma left it to her pet. There goes the inheritance, but pets. And please, an alert for what I see. I have so many COVID has made so many pet owners. And some of them have finally, after 2 years, learned how to walk their dogs twice a day at least, But would you like to go walking barefoot on this weather, taking your daily walk around your community? Well, think about your pets. But pets, and it's not just pets. I kind of can deal with once in a while, because I've seen a lot of pets left in cars. Sometimes they can get their nose out the window. It still gets hot in there. Hello, people. It gets hot. But when I started hearing the last couple of days about children, and that really were reported, at least 2 in Virginia have died. So look at this chart. It's a serious chart. There's some people who just watch numbers and think it's fine. I'm in my air conditioning. But think about your behavior. And I know that some neighborhood watch people actually then try to contact the owner of the car because maybe they went in for something and they thought, oh, well, I'll just leave the dog or the child in the car while I go back in the house. It gets hot real fast. There's numbers and there's procedures and there's things that you can find out about that. Let us not have to worry about all the engineering or the science of it. It gets hot in the cars. Please try not to leave your dog or pet or your child, or don't leave me in there when you go somewhere, okay? Exposure, exposure, exposure. That's what they've done when they left the children or the pets in the car. But in the car, it goes up fast. It gets hot in there real fast. Doesn't take 5 minutes. All right. So think about your exposure. Try to learn to wear a hat. Oh, did anybody want to do sunglasses? Clip-ons or something? And what about the water? Does anybody think water's important by now? Have we mentioned and discussed water a little bit? I think so. Okay. And I learned about Gatorade pretty good on the 4th of July. Don't worry about the definition of what hard work is. Just walking. What I thought I wouldn't have. I'm not lifting. I'm not mowing the lawn. I'm just walking, carrying a backpack with water in it. It got pretty hard, right? And now I always have buddy systems. And when you take a break, yes, you do need some water. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Don't say I'm fine. Take it anyway. All right. Woozy, overheated, act immediately. Admit to yourself or look at your colleague or your family. 911. Get them cool. Put that ice pack on them. Right. Did you feel a little dizzy 4th of July? Right. Did you get thirsty? I said, hey, you guys never let me get thirsty. Why? Because they kept calling me on the radio, drink some water. And they made sure I always had water when I went out on my shift. Right? What a boss. That boss was bothering me, asking me, making me drink water all day. And I'm glad she did, right? Heavy sweating, nausea, weakness. Yeah, you can feel weak. It was harder to walk back at the end of my shift than it was to start out in the morning when I was fresh. I had a day out on the mall in the sun with a couple hundred, 250,000 other people, right? And I came back sweating. So act fast. Don't try, oh, well, I'll get better. I'll feel better. Or it's all right. You get fooled. The heat exhaustion leads to the stroke. And what happens? It's something about life is what I think they tell me. Confusion, dizziness, unconscious. Oh, there's our friend. There's our friend there. There's our friends. Where is it? Right there. Confusion, dizziness. Hello, unconscious. 911. You're allowed to move them. Get them out of the sun. Get them to a comfortable, safe place. Is the scene safe? Yes, yes, yes. And get them cool, right? That heat stroke can cause something, death or the disabilities. So let's be serious about this, guys. All right. July, August, September. As long as we don't get humid, but the humidity, we always seem to get humidity. Okay. We always get to learn about what is a watch. Pay attention now. Get these alerts, get alerts, be alert. Practice looking for information. Maybe it's okay now, but you could hear in one part of our region, it's having heavy rains and flooding. And then you could be alert and you could say, hey, now you're warned. It's coming your way. It's here. It's here. Any thoughts or ideas or questions in the chat? Good. I'm seeing some guys are helping me, talking about what we did here. Oh my goodness. So in Fairfax County, a child was left in the car. So talk to me a little more. I'm looking in my chat now. Yeah, because sometimes you may think you're fine, you're the strongest one, and then you could get overheated by not paying attention and dehydrated and hydrated. So yeah, fill up the chat with me and you guys can come off mic, but we're getting ready to talk about the hurricanes. Hurricanes happen. Hurricanes happen. Hurricanes happen. And you know what happens? You got those storm surges coming in right off the ocean into parts on land where there wasn't water before. So we're going to be very, very interested in what's a hurricane. We have hurricanes in our area, all right, in our regions. We have high winds. We have heavy rain. We have flooding and even little tornadoes. And didn't I hear a tornado lately? And somebody told me, well, it was nice and happy and we had a barbecue at my house, didn't hear a thing. And those alerts and warnings are bothering me all the time. Why do they send me all those things? Well, and then not far away, a guy had his, a roof taken off and flooding in the yard. So we can have the high winds here in our area. So listen to the alerts, listen to the warnings, and pay attention. Let's see what we can do. We are in the hurricane season and they can be surprising. The people who work with the hurricanes, those scientists, already have picked names for 3. Usually they don't worry about it, but they think they're going to be coming so fast, they already started picking names. That's an alert to me. Hello. So watches and warnings, pay attention of them, get them on your alerts, get your Fairfax alerts, get your FEMA alerts, Red Cross alerts. Let's get alerts any way you can. Get those apps on your phones and pay attention. And these conditions, sometimes they'll say, it's here. It's already flooding in Old Town. Hello, the good thing Old Town had sandbags and listened to the preparation. So Old Town has to prepare. So if it's already starting to flood in Old Town, parts of Fairfax should pay attention. Parts of Arlington should pay attention. Be warned, it's already hit in someplace. Before, during, and after, but we want to get our alerts. Please, please, please pay attention to the radios and to the TVs, but sign up for these alerts. It's going to make a big difference. I know last time the storm hit, it was a neighborhood a mile away, but next time it could be your neighborhood, right? We like to, if there's toys out there, if your cooker, your fire, your barbecue, bring it indoors, pull it against through the house, try to take care of things, plan ahead, mitigate, be resilient, right? And here's what's a good thing to do before. Do you have flood insurance? Do you have hurricane insurance, right? Do you have hail and all these kinds? Check your insurance. Check to see if you have enough food and things like that. So before. Check your emergency kit. Do you have enough? Well, learn about what should be in an emergency kit before, and food, water, etc. Right? Good. My favorite thing is having a crank radio with the solar panel on top that has rechargeable batteries, etc. I also have the solar line on my flashlight, right? And rechargeable. Find out what you need for yourself and your family and the people you're with, and have appropriate kit. And look at, there's medications, right? What should you have in your kit? Oh, good. Let's have some beans. Let's have some canned food that I know we can eat that lasts a while. And look at all How much water do you need for yourself? How much water do you need for those around you or living with you, your family, your friends, your group? And guess what? 2 kinds of water. You could, if they tell me, here's how I prepare, here's the secret, don't tell anybody else the secret. If they say it's really coming, I fill up the bathtub because I use the bathtub for the flush the toilet. The power goes out. 55,000 people were without power in Fairfax County when we had a little bit of interesting snow and ice on something called 95, right? All right. Houses were out with power because of the trees on the power lines. So there's water to drink, but also if you plan ahead, you just now have a little secret that you're not allowed to share. Okay. So now that was before you did all those things and you had all your clothes, you're all ready. You still want to listen. You want to check your alerts. Don't always say, because sometimes the next alert will be for you. It'll be something that means something to you. So, and then there's places that you could go inside when there's high winds that will be safe, right? And sometimes it's a good idea to bring some food and water with you, right? And then you wait for Fairfax County. You wait for the alert and the message that says the storm has gone up to Pennsylvania now. It's passed. It's out to West Virginia. Things like that, right? So pay attention to the alerts, and that's during. Be safe. Be safe and take care of yourself. After, what happens after? What happens after? We'll need to use that information we had prepared. I usually carry with me in my pocket a USB, right? It's got what, 1 gigabyte or something. It has copies of my passport, all my health information, all my medical, all my contact information, and my health insurance. Have records of all the things you need. Someplace that you can be mobile to take with you on a little hard drive. Or I have made a CD of all my information and send it to my brother in California. He has everything for me. All right. And of course, this is very important now because this is, whoa, back, please. Sorry. This is very important because you know who's in the will, who grandma left all her things to. There's things about the pet. All right. So look at all the things we have to do. We have to get ready, but if it's after, and you know what's important for you to do now? Have something called lessons learned. Oh, you know what? What I had in that Fairfax community emergency guide, that whole binder of things, or that information. Maybe now I know I should do more of those things that's in the guide. And after a hurricane has gone by, and thank goodness it didn't hit you, but it hit your neighbors, the power lines, they're out of power, but you have power. You have underground utilities. Theirs was on utility pole. So after there's an event, learn about it and do things about it, okay? Good idea. Turn around, don't drown. There was a big rain a while ago for us. I was coming from training, CERT training out in Baltimore, Fort Belvoir, and it poured and poured and poured, and you could not see. The windshield wipers were going faster and faster, and you could not see even though the fastest, and it was dark. And I said, oh, I'm just gonna take this Fairfax Parkway. And guess what? There was enough rain and flooding on that road that my wheels moved and turned the front of the car. So it doesn't take, what is it? Is it 6 inches? Doesn't take much for a car to even be moved off the road. So I had to slow down at like 5-10 miles an hour to get home that night. So let's pay attention to those kind of things. After it's all over, it's good to find out about your flood insurance. That's why we say there's a whole lot to do to be prepared, but guess what? After the incident is a whole lot good lesson in how to be smart at what you didn't do and get better at it. Be resilient. And then this afterwards, we'll learn how to mitigate the next one. Any other thoughts about the hurricanes as we go on to the next module? How's the chat looking? Yeah, warning is like a touchdown somewhere. Some of the definitions, they talk to you about so many hours and so many hours, but that's why it's important to understand what the FEMA alerts are, what the weather service has their alerts, and Fairfax County, right? So there's different alerts that you could have that'll tell you things. Red Cross has alerts and it'll tell you where shelters are open, right? And Fairfax County and Red Cross work together in sheltering. Alerts, alerts, alerts. Find out what your alerts are where you are, and there's alerts for DC, Maryland, Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax. There's all kinds of alerts of where you travel. You can put alerts. I have alerts for several places across the country where people I know, and then I can find out how good or bad it is someplace else. Right? Ready Fairfax, their social media. Be informed, find out what to do. And on the radios that we have your solar powered radio, right? And your crank radio and your weather radio, and it's also a light. So here have your equipment that you can find out and be alerted on, even when there's the power is out and things like that. So does everybody have at least one of these alerts? There's several that we could have. Please get some alerts. Just one person do one thing and get an alert. In case you were wondering, there was questions in the chat saying, how could they get involved? Oh, that question wasn't there? Oh, well, anyway, the answer is yes, you can get involved in more than one way. Emergency Management Volunteer Corps in Fairfax, their Citizen Corps, some Medical Reserve. I can tell you about each one of these. I've been in the Medical Reserve since 2004. Community Emergency Response Team, I've been a member since 2005. Fire Corps and volunteers in the police service. And there's chaplain neighborhood watch right now. You could be in neighborhood watch even if it's just you. You don't need anything to be in neighborhood watch. There's plenty of information on what to do and how to do it. But working with the Medical Reserve Corps, there's a lot of nurses and doctors there, but you could be a non-medical and really still have a role and help in public health and safety. And all the different ways that you could be helping, contact some of these organizations. They're on the Fairfax.org website and has a lot of information that everybody can help. And guess what? A lot of free training that may save yourself and so forth. Any thoughts or ideas about volunteer organizations and how you can help? Just put it in the chat or come off the mic. And there's links and all this is on the Fairfax website. Excellent information. I recommend stepping forward and helping and learning about things. So now that you're cool, calm, and collected, because you know about how to mitigate and be resilient for extreme heat. A little bit about, yes, hurricanes do come to where we are. And maybe it wasn't your neighborhood or your house this time, but now you know to prepare. And next time, we're going to be talking about the youth and preparing. It's still, sometimes some of the hurricanes still come when school season starts, but there'll be things that we want to always be prepared, be ready, be resilient, and mitigate. So learn what you can do. And if there are any other thoughts or questions, this time is now for us to come off mic or look in the chat and see what we're doing. If you
Hey,
want
Mark,
to,
it's
yes,
Lonnie. Can I make a suggestion?
yes, Lonnie.
Um, for your SERG, your Community Emergency Response Guide, that is an excellent guide. I love it. I would just suggest that people not try to print it. It will suck up every bit of ink out of your printer. It has so many pictures that are awesome because CERT's in there as an awesome group. But I would suggest, I believe it's appendix, I'm going by memory. I think it's F and G in the back that are most important. I would suggest you print those out and get those ready. But I would not suggest you print the entire document, but download it to your computer and just review it as you have time to do so. My
Excellent.
suggestion.
Excellent. I think the G is one of my favorite. It's the checklist. And I think, Lonnie, you're right that sometimes they're PDFs or fillable PDFs, or learning what those appendix are is what I have reused quite a lot. So looking at the guide and the appendix, I think the checklists are reusable. And if I remember right, I made it a PDF that I could fill out and check off the checklist and things, and who to contact in town, out of town, things like that. Very good point. Thank you, Lonnie. Good point. Any other thoughts or ideas? Are you now resilient? I think, oh, look at those star resilient eyes I see out there. Brian, how you doing, Mr. Riley? You okay? Howdy, Brian. A mini guide. Well, this is what I'm saying. Here's what I had done a lot from the guide. I had gone to the appendix, and then you can download individual parts of the appendix. I believe they're PDFs, and then I work within those and I track them back, because you're right, Lonnie, it's in the big guide itself. It's a lot of pictorial, but when you boil it down of let me practice my plan, let me see what I need to do, and where's my checklist, and where's my formats. I think if you use the appendices, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, as the mini guides, I think that would help you. But we do have some other booklets and things through Fairfax County that we use for outreach. If you want us to come and talk to your group, there's FEMA has different kind of things. What do we see in the chat? Yeah, so if you want copies of things, you can put your contact information in the chat. And looks like Courtney's taking on some action items. What else? Oh, copy of these slides. Yeah. These slides are available to send your information. Courtney be glad to send this out to you. Yeah, there's not too many. I like it. It's kind of a short thing, but there's a life-saving information in this briefing. So if you'd like us to come talk to other people you know or groups, Office of Emergency Management would be glad to do that. Any other thoughts or ideas? What do you think, Courtney?
I think you did a great job. Great interaction. I definitely appreciate everyone coming out and learning a little bit. I know we're trying to have these every month, so the first Wednesday of every month, and we will have different topics coming up throughout the year. So, definitely, if you guys have any suggestions or you have any specific topics, please let us know and we'll be happy to accommodate. All right. So I am copying a couple emails down right now. So I will send you guys an email just following this. And I just want to make sure before I end the call that I get all of those. So I will email you if you do want me to mail you out a copy of the guide. So the guide that was talked about that you can download. There's a lot of pages to print. We did cut it down a little bit into a more of a crisis guide type flip book. So it has 99% of the stuff in there. It's just in a miniature version and printed out already for you. So we're happy to send those out if you want them. And we will be out at quite a few events in the next couple of months. So keep a lookout, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night.
Yeah, I had one more question. Jim, are you CERT class 2?
Yes, class 2.
I'm class 11. So how'd he do?
Hi, brother. Good one.
Okay, take care.
Take care. Great presentation, Marco.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Very good. Very good. All around. Thank
Courtney, this is Lonnie. I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Is the mini guide the Fairfax County Community Crisis Guide, or is that something different?
It is, but depending, do you have the one that opens like a book, or do you have the one that opens upwards?
It looks like a flip chart. It opens upward.
Okay, so we actually redid it to align with the CERG. So
Gotcha. Okay.
what I can do is, if you want to send me your email, I can send you out a new copy.
I will put my email in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So just respond to it, and then you can send me your address. That way you don't have to share with everyone on here, and I'll get it out to you tomorrow.
Almost everybody is CERT, and they already have my address. So I'm good. Thank you.
Sounds good. Any other questions, guys, before you go?
I'm putting my email in there.
Awesome.
Just so give me another second if I can spell it right. Marco to plan for it at, whoops, you don't have.
I made the thing
I'm sure you guys all now hear my son in the background.
Okay, see if that works. Did that get in there?
It did. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be glad to help anybody with any thoughts or ideas. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Bye-bye,
Thank
Judith.
you. Bye.